Hello and welcome to Runkle of the Bailey. My name is Ian Runkle. I'm a Canadian criminal defense and firearms lawyer. Today, a story that about a dozen of you sent me. It's a story out of Vancouver, and the headline is Vancouver Police Recover 174 Guns During Wellness Check. Now, the meat of this story is a tweet from a Vancouver police officer. Let's have a look at that one. So, it's from a Fiona Wilson. Not every VPD call involves a crime. This week, Car 87 recovered 174 guns from a West Side senior after visiting his house for a wellness check. His physical and mental health was in decline, so officers took him to hospital for urgent care. And then they have a bunch of hashtags, including World Mental Health Day. Now, there's a few things that I sort of think about here. The news article here, and I'm going to link this article in the description below, but they note that the firearms are vintage and from World War II. They say that the guns were seized as they were not stored safely, but it doesn't appear that any charges have been laid. So it's not clear what not stored safely means. I can't say for certain. I have seen situations where they said, okay, listen, we broke down the front door to get in, and now because the front door is broken, the guns aren't safe anymore. So I don't know if that's the case or if this is a circumstance where there weren't trigger locks or what the deal was, but it doesn't appear that there's any charges. However, I do kind of take issue when they say we recovered 174 guns. I mean, was this guy stealing guns? I don't think so. It doesn't seem that there's any allegation that this guy was some sort of master firearm thief and that these are 174 stolen firearms. So you didn't recover them, because recover them implies that you have got these things and you're going to get them back to their rightful owner. Well, the rightful owner was right there. You didn't recover them. You took them from the rightful owner. So you seized them, or there might be some less friendly terms, but we'll go with seized because that's the term the law relies on here. That's the term the law uses. And there's sections of the criminal code that do actually allow for this. The most likely application here is section 117.04, which is probably the search and seizure without warrant that they're doing here. So 117.04 sub 2. I'll just bring that up just so that we can go through that, just so we can all see what the legislation that allows this is. So search and seizure without warrant. So this is where, with respect to any person, a peace officer is satisfied that there are reasonable grounds to believe that it is not desirable, in the interest of the safety of the person or any other person, for the person to possess any weapon, prohibited device, ammunition, prohibited ammunition, or explosive substance. The peace officer may, where the grounds for obtaining a warrant under subsection 1 exist, but by reason of a possible danger to the safety of that person or any other person, it would not be practicable to obtain a warrant, search for and seize any such thing and any authorization, license, or registration certificate relating to any such thing that is held by or in the possession of the person. So basically, they get to go through and take all the guns as well as all the licenses, all the registration certificates, and so forth. And if they do this without a warrant, there's two ways they can do it. One is that they get a warrant ahead of time, and that's under subsection 1. Or if they don't get a warrant, they have to actually go back to a justice and say, listen, here's what we took. Here's why we did it. Here's why we couldn't have gotten a warrant at the time. And so that's sort of an after the fact process. Now, the next bit here is application for disposition. This is what happens after they seize stuff. So where anything or document has been seized under those subsections, the justice who issued the warrant authorizing the seizure, or if no warrant was issued, a justice who might otherwise have issued a warrant shall, which means must, on application for an order for the disposition of the thing or document so seized made by a peace officer within 30 days after the date of execution of the warrant or of the seizure without a warrant, as the case may be, fix a date for the hearing of the application and direct that notice of the hearing be given to such persons or in such manner as the justice may specify. You might be saying, what kind of hearing? What kind of disposition? Well, the kind of disposition is that if they find that it is not desirable in the interest of the safety of the person from whom it was seized or any other person, they will forfeit all of the things seized, which in this case is 174 firearms, which are said to be mostly World War II era, and issue a a firearm prohibition order. So an order banning somebody from having firearms with criminal consequences. Now, this can actually happen ex parte, which means if you're not available to participate in the hearing, they can do it without you. They can do it in your absence. Now, an ex parte hearing is supposed to be one where, in theory, the one side that's making the application has to basically present both sides. They have to sort of say, here's the evidence for us, here's the evidence against us, because you're really trying to help the court make a proper decision in that case. That's kind of what is expected. However, you're only really going to have one side. I mean, we considered everything and we thought we should take the guns probably means that that's the conclusion that the justice or judge is likely to get to. So, this ex parte hearing is a bit of a problem. And if this guy is having, is in a situation where he's not mentally capable or physically capable, he's probably not going to make it to his hearing. So this hearing's probably going to happen in his absence, and it's probably going to result in the forfeiture of 174 firearms, which sound like they're collectible items. Now, in the hearing of this, the justice shall hear all relevant evidence, including evidence respecting the value of the thing in respect of which the application is made. So what that theoretically means here is that when they're bringing this prohibition or application, what they should be doing is they should be going and getting all of these things appraised in order to determine their value, because that's something that the justice is actually supposed to consider in this issue. And this is really important when you're talking about 174 firearms being taken from a guy who it sounds like may need some care, because care is expensive. And, just sort of a ballpark estimate, I don't think it's unreasonable to assume that we're talking somewhere around $1,000 per firearm. There's probably some that are worth more than that, some that are worth less. If I had to guess where my error was in terms of saying $1,000 per gun, I'd probably guess that it's low, that it's probably more than that. And we're talking 174 guns, which ends up being $174,000. That buys you a lot of care, and this guy could use it, it sounds like. I mean, I'm assuming that the police are accurate here. If we assume half of that, that's still a lot of money, right? That's still a lot of money that could go to this guy's care. And if we're trying to help this guy out, that's really where this money should be going, right? Is to help out his care. He may also have had notions of, these guns going to his next of kin in his will and so forth. So that's the kind of thing that should be considered. I don't know what the next steps are, because the police here do have the option of not proceeding with a forfeiture hearing, in which case, if they don't decide to do that, there's a process for that. So anything or document seized pursuant to subsection 11704 sub 1 or sub 2 shall be returned to the person, so it has to be given back to him, from whom it was seized, if no application is made within 30 days, or the application is made and the justice does not make a finding that they should be forfeited. So this seems to me to be a situation where maybe they should get in touch with this guy's family and say, hey, will you guys step in? This is a lot of money worth of metal here, and, this guy could use the assistance, or seeing maybe if this is a situation where, he should be passing these firearms on to next of kin. But coming in and being like, hey, we're from the government and we're here to help, and we're going to help you by destroying $174,000 worth of property when you need that money. I don't think that they're going to be feeling like this is such a big help. Hey, this is a wellness check. We've just destroyed almost 200 grand of your stuff. Not a lot of people feel like that is a wellness check so much as an actual shot to your wellness. World Mental Health Day. Well, why don't people call for help more often when they're having mental health crises? It's because sometimes the consequences are extreme. We've created this situation where, it's, you can actually be severely punished effectively for reaching out for help. I have issues with that. I have, I have concerns with that. And we have this big sort of press to seize firearms and then destroy them, when really these are potentially valuable items and potentially historic items. I don't know what's in his collection, but some of these items might be irreplaceable. They might be things that, really shouldn't be destroyed because they're not making any more World War II firearms. Some of these things might have historical, collectible, all sorts of other value. So this kind of thing always frustrates me, especially because this is the kind of place where you've got, I'm sure everyone involved thinks they're doing the right thing and thinks they're doing the best thing. Everyone is, nobody's going out there. There's no mustache twirling villains here. Nobody's going, I really want to, mess with this old guy. Like, I'm going to just really wreck this old dude. Nobody's thinking that, right? Obviously not. But just through application of good-natured, hey, we're going to help, things can get much worse. If these firearms are seized by people who are like, hey, we're doing the right thing, we're getting these guns out of the hands of somebody who maybe is too old to have them anymore, they're going to be ending up doing a wrong thing, costing this guy money that really should be used to help him out here. So, and that's again, assuming that this is something where it's, that he's not capable, that he's not in a position to make these decisions. If he is in a position to make these decisions, then maybe, then he'll have to be involved in this process. And I hope he's getting some good help on this one. Anyway, lots of people wanted comment on this one. This kind of situation is really frustrating. Especially, I'm just still a little tweaked by the use of the word recover, because the police in their sort of press releases, they're always very careful with what language they want to use. It's not, we shot somebody, it's an officer involved shooting. Recover almost certainly wasn't an accident here. They chose to use the word recover rather than seized, notwithstanding the fact that it's inaccurate because it sounds nicer. We didn't find some old guy in need of help and steal his stuff. We recovered it to the chop saw. Please don't recover my stuff to the garbage. I don't enjoy it when people do that. That's not something I want. And at the end of the day, if a burglar breaks in and steals your stuff, at least the burglar doesn't do a press release telling you how much of a favor he did you by taking it. Anyway, I've probably ranted enough on this one. Thank you for watching. I want to thank my Patreon supporters at the $50 level: Jonathan Wheeler, Jason Elliott, Canada's National Firearms Association, Slightly Left of Center, Good-Natured Hypothetical Firearms Association, Mike, Kyle Martin, Jean-Guy Toussaint, CCFR, and the Canadian Shooting Sports Association. At the $30 level, Sights and Arms Limited and Marc-Olivier Damour. And at the $20 level, Raymond Dale McKinnon, Matt Ward, Mark Whittington, Jane Babin Luxer, Dale Nesbitt, Cameron Johnson, Bruno R., Andrew Elsich, and Aaron Del Salt. Thank you as well to the $10 supporters who will be in the crawl immediately following, as well as everybody supporting this channel. Yeah, this one's kind of frustrating. I hate seeing it in a situation where it's like, hey, we're going to help you by destroying a bunch of your valuable stuff. It's always frustrating when I see that. So thank you to everyone who sent me this story. There are a couple of people who are like, hey, why haven't you covered this yet? Well, I had a really nice Thanksgiving dinner. I got home and I was feeling really sleepy from turkey. So that's why this didn't get recorded a little sooner. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time. I hope I've armed you with knowledge.